Good evening, everyone. How are we all doing? Welcome back to another stream on the channel. Today we are here for the match reaction after, of course, Manchester United 3, Leicester City 0 yesterday in the Premier League. We've got a lot of things to discuss tonight. Obviously, the game itself, we're going to talk about VAR in the game and VAR as a whole, really, in the last couple of weeks, because as we know, it's not just Leicester who have been impacted by VAR in a negative way in the last couple of weeks. Obviously, the game itself wasn't completely determined by VAR, but it is a talking point from yesterday's defeat at Old Trafford, which I thought, I think we all went into the game having a bit of hope that we maybe could have got something. I think 3-0 is slightly flattering, but overall, I think second half performance wasn't fantastic. It wasn't good at all. And that's what cost us, really. I think first half we were all right, especially that first 20, 25, 30 minutes where Leicester were really on top. Obviously, Rashford got the first goal in the 25th minute, but, it was undeserved at that period, and that's the most frustrating thing. Obviously, we had some good chances through Barnes, Iheanacho, them two going close particularly, and it's one of those things, really. If you want to get a result at Old Trafford, you've got to go there and take your chances. And if not, you're probably not going to get anything, which was obviously the case. I think United probably did deserve to win just about. And in the end, obviously, they had far more chances, especially in the second half. They hit the bar. But yeah, it's one of them, really. Frustrating game where on another day, maybe Leicester could have got something from it. But feel free to let me know your thoughts in the chat. If you watch this video back on playback, let me know your thoughts in the comments as well. But yeah, I think there's only really one place to start tonight. Jerry, welcome to the stream. Hopefully you're doing all right. We'll wait for some more people to pop in. But positives to take. De Gea saved in the first half. He did. Played really well in the first half. Had those first two dodgy defensive offside trap errors. And I think there's positives to take. We're going to come on to that in a minute. Thought you were badged up also, didn't see. Of course I was. I'm on the ropes from last night. You can probably tell from my voice. But only one place to start them, VAR. Now, just quickly, if any Man United fans are going to be on here saying, "Oh, you cried about VAR," I'm not saying this is the main reason why Leicester lost the game. But what I'm saying is, I'm just saying, talking about VAR as a whole, really, because as we know, it got slated last week. Rightly so, and this week there's been some silly decisions as well. Then, but I think this is the main one to start off with. Obviously, the tackle on by Sabitzer about fouls. Now, in the away end, I didn't really think anything of it. Really, I saw Wout go down. There was no real appeals from any Leicester players. So, in the stands, I didn't really see anything really, and I thought, probably a foul and play on. But looking back on it, those of you watched on TV, you'll probably obviously know far a lot more, especially at Man United, because there's they got like really small screens, so there isn't any actual like replays of the game on it, so you don't have a clue really. So obviously this is the fan. It's a clear red card, and no one can argue about it. It's stupidly high. The studs are up. It's side on, and it's clear and obvious red card. And for them to not even check it just blows my mind. How can there be 3, 4, 5 people sat in the VAR room watching the game and not looking at that? It's absolutely crazy, and yes, on the initial, live footage, it's quite quick. It wasn't really that obvious, but on the replays, it's very clear to see. And obviously, football's not played in pictures, but it's a clear and obvious red card. Bare minimum a yellow, but in my opinion, that's a red. And if that was the other way around, I can guarantee that would have got given. We've seen it last year at Man United as well. The McTominay tackle on Maddison, which was a red, and obviously we got the goal ruled out as well for no reason as well. So, Manchester United get it their way once again. But for me, that's a clear and obvious red card. I don't think there's anything much else to say about it. Then obviously the second VAR talking point from the game was obviously the Rashford goal, which was, of course, in my opinion, was offside because the lines are, to be fair, the quality of the image I'm showing isn't the greatest, but the lines on this are absolutely stupid. Now, for me, I think one thing I'm thinking, obviously the camera angle for one is very hard to really see how he's offside because, the camera angle's much towards the left. In my opinion, there needs to be cameras all along that touch line, Surely you have the equipment and money to be able to do that in the Premier League. Surely they can do that. Just put cameras or like a camera which can move or just move along the touchline so you can actually get a better angle. Because how can you determine offside from that angle there? It's stupid, and the lines are absolutely pathetic as well. If you look at Wout Faes, it's barely even touching his shoulder, and then I just don't get how that can be offside. And obviously, the one last week against Tottenham is literally the exact same thing. We'll talk about that in a minute, but I just can't work out how they can terminate it. The ball's not even, it's not even left his foot yet either. So yeah, it's absolutely crazy. And I think it initially got given as offside. It's not a clear and obvious error. So I just say you stick with the initial decision. Obviously, that would favour Leicester, but it's I just can't get it. It looks right on. Look. How can you determine that from here? It looks like Rashford's off, but you can't really see, can you, from this camera angle because it's not straight on the players as the linesman who's over here should see it, and the linesman did put his flag up. So I say you go with his decision, but clearly not. And now and obviously the same thing happened. I just mentioned it last week against Tottenham. And how's that offside? I do not have an absolute clue. How on earth is that one offside? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I know these are all Leicester, but VAR, especially last week, had an absolute mare. Now, how Harvey Barnes is offside there, I do not have a clue. Ben Davies himself is over the red line. Obviously, Eric Dyer's over with his arm, but Ben Davies is literally on the red line with his. I don't get it. You see what I mean? It's just absolutely crazy, and I don't want to turn this into a whole VAR thing because it's not. But yeah, obviously that's from Leicester. But just like I said last week against Arsenal versus Brentford, they made a silly mistake. Crystal Palace, Brighton, there was a stupid mistake as well, and I think people say, "Oh, get rid of VAR." I don't think that's the case. I think you need to get rid of the stupid prats who are operating it, who do not have a clue what they're doing. And that's the thing because, in the World Cup, in the Euros, VAR works an absolute treat. We didn't see anything really that controversial in the World Cup, but in the Premier League, there's a controversial decision almost every single game right now, and that's the issue with it. It's the stupid idiots behind it who don't know what they're doing. It's as simple as that, and that is what needs to change. The technology and the process and the idea behind it's good because it can get rid of them stupid decisions, but it seems to be just making really, really bad decisions. And referees who are being given 2 minutes to make a decision can't do it. And what's the point of having the monitor on the side of the pitch for the ref to look at it? There's no point even having a ref on the pitch soon because VAR could just make every single decision through his ear. And the referee's the referee on the day. VAR, go in his ear, have a look at this one, and just go to the monitor. I just don't get why the people in what watching it back at Stockley Park have to make the decision. Let the ref make it. Obviously it's a very clear and obvious mistake, yeah. But if it's a tight one, just like the one in our game, let the ref go and do it. But yeah, run over. Let's get into the chat. It's just it's been the same. It's been the same problem since VAR has been introduced. Obviously, it first got introduced in 2019-20, and we've barely seen a single change. And I think when it first got introduced, it's exact same things. And obviously back then they were doing the lines by the armpit, and now it just seems to be anything. And sometimes the thickness of the lines drew, and if they are actually drawn, because I know in one game they weren't even drawn. So it's just crazy, and I don't get how the referees can't even pick up. And that's the thing: the refs didn't even pick up the foul by Wout, sorry, by Sabitzer. And of course it's not like a clear one. Just like I said a few minutes ago, in the stand I didn't really see it, but you know what I mean. It's just crazy. But yeah, let's get into the chat then. Let's catch up with it. How's that? Yeah, 100%. It's classic Man United. I went for that already. No, it's classic Man United. Really, it's Old Trafford, that sort of thing. But the thing is, when the foul actually happened, not a single Leicester player went up to the referee and said anything. Dewsbury had a perfect view of it. If that was the other way around, you would have had Bruno, Rashford, everyone sprinting to the ref, going in his face. He probably would have given the decision. It is bad. If that was us, it would have been a red. There's some serious big six bias from the refs. seemed scared to go again. Yeah, it's exactly that. And it's at Old Trafford, and if he got red carded, there would have been, especially someone like Bruno Fernandes, who's probably he's a proper yapper, isn't he? It would have been right in his face. Oh no, yeah, that was stupid as well. I think the only thing on that's the video, so I can't show it on here. But yeah, Mendy won the ball twice and got a yellow card. It's crazy. I hate the ref. I hope he gets sacked. And yeah, the referee on VAR is the referee Leicester have on Saturday. So I think he may get a bit of stick, but that's just crazy, isn't it? The guy on the VAR who made them stupid decisions is the referee on Saturday for Leicester versus Arsenal. Great, interesting stuff. See, why doesn't VAR interfere with the men? Yeah, so exactly that. And I don't understand why VAR only has these 4 categories. It's like an obvious red, offside, mistaken identity, and there's one more. But why can't they just do these little things? Because yeah, obviously it's only a minor, but the 5 yellow card rule. I think it's 10 now. If we top them up, you could be missing, a crucial game, especially if you're in a title race. I don't know. Say Saka gets, loads of yellows, and one of them isn't a yellow, and he misses a crucial game. It could be detrimental to someone's season, and I just don't get why they can't do these things. Like even just give a yellow or reverse a red to a yellow. You know what I mean? I just don't get it. I don't get why it's so set in stone, and why can't they just do these rules? And that Villa, the Villa Sheffield United goal line technology thing. Obviously, the technology failed. So why the hell could VAR not intervene? You know what I mean? It's just crazy, isn't it? Yeah, to be fair, when Rashford scored to make it 2, and obviously them lot all celebrated. I was obviously right next to the home fans, so we went over and gave it large. And then as soon as VAR went, I said to him, "Mate, this is going to count," because you just know it, don't you? Typical. I know it's just stupid, isn't it? Thank God, and obviously we won that game convincingly in the end. But that could be the difference between relegation and survival for us. You know what I mean? It's just I just don't get it. And they drew the line on the wrong player. It's crazy. Much agreed. Don't get rid of VR at the end of the day. It can correct wrong decisions like it should, but it's used very inconsistently as well. And that's the thing. They're just not checking the right things. And just like I said a minute ago, I don't know why it's so enforced that you can only check for certain things. Why can't you use VAR to do everything? Like handballs or what? I think handballs the fourth one, but you see what I mean? And just like I said, the perfect example is the goal line technology fail with Aston Villa. I know that's going a long way back, but the goal line technology broke. So why on earth could VAR not go and step in and look at it? Oh, it's not part of the rules. What? Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. And clear and obvious error. And that's the thing. I don't think VAR is even about a clear and obvious error now. They're just trying to find ways to give a goal or not give a goal. Because the Rashford offside for the second goal, how on earth is that a clear and obvious error by the linesman? And he had a better view than the flipping camera when they drew the lines on it. It's crazy, and if say if Man United got a red card, or if Leicester got at least one of them decisions our way, it could have been a completely different game because it would have stayed 1-0, or it would have been 1-0 and 10 men. And by that, with 10 men, Leicester can go on and get at least a point. And even if the goal gets disallowed, momentum shifts, and Leicester have a bit more of a entitled, I don't know, a bit more push to try and get back into the game. Where by that point it was still quite even. And we're going to discuss the game in a bit more detail. I don't want to make this into a whole VAR thing, but I think it needs to be discussed because we don't really talk about the whole Premier League on here. And I know it's just mainly on Leicester, but just like I said, it's a huge problem against the whole league. Hello, Ethan, mate. I hope you're doing all right. Leicester bet against Arsenal. Yeah, the rules are always changing. But yeah, we've talked about VAR for long enough now. Let's talk about the game in a bit more detail. So yeah, here we go then, boys and girls. Let's discuss the game. On to SofaScore. So yeah, this is how obviously we lined up. No changes from the game against Tottenham, which was a good decision. Harvey Barnes got given the worst rating on SofaScore, which I think is about right. I think Maddison had a very poor game, and I'm Maddison's biggest fan, so I'll say that I thought it was pretty shocking, to be fair, especially in the second. I don't know. I've seen quite a few people say it wasn't that bad, but from the stands, I just thought Maddison was just, I don't know, he seemed to try a bit too hard in the second half. He tried to take a load of players on because he didn't really do much. I think Ian actually wasn't great. I didn't think Tete was good at all. To be fair, Dewsbury seemed to be very quiet. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, it's different. You get a different view from watching it in the stands, so you guys might have a different opinion on it. I haven't watched the full highlights back, so but yeah, feel free to let me know your thoughts. What were the match ratings, Josh? Yeah, on screen right now, as you can see. So yeah, overall 6.7 for Danny Ward. I think that's a little bit favourable. I thought his positioning for the goals, but not great. As Joey said, I thought Castagna was quite good actually, especially first half. We seemed to really bomb on, especially for getting past Luke Shaw quite easily, which isn't an easy thing. My nose is running out. Apologies. Yeah, I thought Castagna was quite solid. I think the centre backs weren't too bad. Obviously, we got given a 6.4 because obviously made the mistake for the first goal. But I think the main reason why Leicester lost was the fullbacks and really Rashford coming into this area, these areas between the centre backs and the fullbacks. That's what cost us really. I think centrally we weren't too bad. I thought we stopped Weghorst from doing much. But it was really Bruno and Rashford who pulled the strings for Manchester United. Let me just wipe my nose quickly. Apologies, boys. Hay fever's back already. But yeah, I think midfielder wise, we weren't great. Like I said, I thought Dewsbury and Mendy didn't really do much, to be fair. I think Sabitzer had a good game despite the red card he should have got. And these are the average positions. As you see, United really targeted this side over here quite heavily, really. Obviously, had Rashford as the furthest one forward. And for Leicester, it's quite similar to Tottenham, really. Interesting enough, James Maddison actually had a higher average position than Iheanacho, which is quite mad. Obviously, had Mendy dropping a bit deep. Christensen much further forward than Castagna, and Woutfaz playing quite deep there as well, which I thought, I think the reason why we didn't do so well in the second half is because of these two. I think Dewsbury and Mendy. I know obviously Samari and Dennis Pratt etc. came on, and that's how, and nothing really changed really. As you can see, Samari was really deep when he came on. So was Tillemans, and I know it's only average positions, but you have got a big gap here and stuff. And yeah, it's one of them really. If you scroll up to the momentum bar, as you can see over here, Leicester are obviously in blue. You can see the pressure and the domination in the first half. And I think first half Leicester were the better side, but this here is where the game was lost. That first 15, 20 minutes of the second half where they hit the bar. Obviously, Rashford scored the second, which should have been offside, and then they scored a good third goal through Sancho, wasn't it? It was a good link up between I think it was him and Bruno or Rashford, not too sure. But expected goals wise, Man United had 4.4, which is quite a lot. Leicester had 1.6. But 19 shots, 3 on target. 19 shots away at Old Trafford is positives to take. Definitely, I think we didn't do too bad. Obviously, United took more than chances, had a bit more on top. United with 7 big chances. But it just comes down to this, really. The 2 big chances missed, and I think both of them were the first half through. Obviously, Barnes, who should have really scored, and Iheanacho with the header. De Gea was fantastic. He made some fantastic stops. But, if Leicester could have just put one of them away, completely different game. And that's the fine margins, really. That is the fine margins of football, really. And, if you look at the league table now, it puts in a bit of a precarious position, really. Back down to 14th. Results didn't go away, and thank God the Arsenal game is the last one of these tough 4, and then we can have an easy game against the likes of Southampton. But even Southampton are looking a bit more stronger now. But yeah, let's get back into the chat then, boys and girls. What are we saying? Barnes, did bully back. Yeah, to be fair, I thought Tete was really poor. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't. I think he should. I think at times he just needs to do the basics a bit better. There's one time where he tried to skill on Rashford in the corner. He had an easy pass to Tillemans. That really did annoy me. Show some flair and some talent, but if you got a basic pass there, just do it. Keep the basics right. Yeah, we were solid down the right. When we play easy games, Southampton, we win. I don't know if Southampton's going to be easy. Yeah, on paper it should be. Yeah, and that's the thing, really. You're always going to get that, especially away at Old Trafford. Faz and Souttar were really good at the second ball kind of thing, as well as clearing it and intercepting the balls. It was a good performance for those two. Yeah, I think especially first half. All right, yeah, it was. Them two were really good. They kept breaking the play quite nicely. They restricted Van also doing anything, which isn't too difficult. But I think them two are settled in quite nicely. Christensen was bombing on quite nicely down the left hand side as well. I think he needs to mould a bit better defensively at times with his positioning, but he's looking a fantastic player. And obviously, Tillemans and Samora both came on. Samora didn't trap the runners at all. I think that we're just a small bit on Castagna. I know it's a bit critical, but the second goal we kind of just stopped and put his hand up where obviously he was offside, but he could have done a bit more really to run back and put Rashford off a bit more. And Ward, I think you should have really saved it. It was straight down the middle, really. You are too scared to bring on Maguire. Yeah. To be fair, defensively, they look quite strong. I thought Lindelof was all right. I don't know, though, because I think first half, United were quite sloppy. Leicester did win the ball up quite high. And, I was thinking if Barnes could have put that chance away, I really think we could have got at least a point because, it would have put Man United on the back foot. The fans would have been a bit more on edge. By the way, the fans were very quiet, I thought, anyway, from the away end. They were all right in the second half, but first off, they were dull. But Weghorst was he was a panic buy, really, wasn't he? He got finished. To be fair, man, I think Dalot had that good chance, didn't he, towards the end of the second half, and if that went in, he would have been stuff. But yeah, I think overall the reason why the game was won and lost was because of that first 20 minutes of the second half where we were pretty poor. Let's be fair, defensively weren't good, and going forward we didn't do too much. But overall, apart from that, I didn't think it was too bad. Just like I said, I think 3-0 wasn't really a fair representation of the game and the performance. But it's one of them games. Hopefully, it's just a blip in the road, and we can get back to home, maybe a result against Arsenal, which I will talk about that in a minute. But yeah, it's just one of them ones really. But I think positives can be taken. I think there's no shame in losing to Man United at Old Trafford. That last time they lost there in the Premier League was on the opening day against Brighton. So, tough place to go. Historically, Leicester have never really done well there. We've gone close in the past, which probably deserved to win it last year. And I think this year, I think maybe 2-0 or 2-1 was probably a bit more of a fair result. But overall, it's one of them, really, isn't it, in the Premier League? But as Renee has touched on, next up we've got Arsenal at home in the Premier League, which is obviously a gargantuan match. Obviously, Arsenal coming into it on a bit of different form, but I think they'll have a lot of confidence from that win against Villa on Saturday, which is quite funny seeing the ball bounce off the back of Martinez's head. But I think that's another game where we can go into it and have a bit of confidence. I really think so because, once again, I do have a slight belief that Leicester can get a result because, yes, Arsenal have been fantastic this year, but, the signs have been showing. The last couple of weeks, the performances haven't been too good. They've been shipping goals. They've shipped 2 to Villa and, on another day, that game against Villa could have quite easily been a 2-2 draw. So I think we do have a good chance. As a troop, we're getting Inter Milan right back. I did hear about it, but it's not a very reliable source. I think it's Denzel Dumfries, which I think he would be a good signing. But I don't know. It's a long way away. That is. I take it back. Tete's not scoring against Southampton away. I don't know, mate. I don't know, Ethan. I think Tete sold. I think he sold us the dream, didn't he, against Villa? Because against Tottenham he was all right. He was quite quiet, but they didn't do anything, did he? Still, I know. I can't. I am regretting buying tickets for that. I really am. Man United was a long away day for me. I was on the train back for like 3 hours. It was a nightmare because it was like the cheapest train, so it stopped about 20 stations on the way back. It's shocking, but Southampton. I'm going on the bus, so that should be decent. But it was a long away day yesterday at Old Trafford. I only got to the game half an hour before kickoff, so I wasn't even in the ground that long. I spent more time travelling than actually in Manchester. Saints away is going to be limbs. Mark my words. Hopefully, it's quite a good away end. I think we're bringing at least 3,000, so it should be a good one. I think there's about 200 tickets left. So if you haven't got a ticket, go and secure one. Go and back the boys away at Southampton. But I think that Southampton game though, just touching on that, obviously that is the next game after Arsenal. We've got Blackburn in the cup between that one. But yeah, that Southampton game was massive. Absolutely massive. Obviously, they beat Chelsea on the weekend with a kind of new manager bounce. But it's still a game where we should be going there winning because, bar them, I don't really think we can expect to be getting a result from Arsenal at home realistically. And, we are only 3 points still above the drop. So by Southampton away, we could be down there. So it's going to be a massive game. 3,200, yes, it's good support for a half 5 kickoff. Last I saw, there's one block left for about 200 seats left in it. So, yeah, it should sell out. It's decent support from us as always. So, yeah, Leicester, obviously our home atmosphere is rubbish, but I think away we do bring good numbers. And I think yesterday the away atmosphere was good first half. Second half we were pretty poor, but that's kind of expected, really. I think when Leicester played badly, we're not very good away. But when we're doing all right, we are good. The only way I see us losing that game is if we give a free kick away in the edge of the box. If you know, you know. I know, but I can't. Has Ward-Prowse actually ever scored a free kick against Leicester? Now I've said that he will, but I can't actually remember. I think it must be like one of his only clubs he hasn't scored a free kick against. But he's definitely going to score one now, any. But yeah, obviously we need to be careful with that one. But once again, that's going to be a game for the goals. I can't see Southampton keeping a clean sheet, and neither can we really. We need to take Chelsea at home, though, will be such a thing to lose. Yeah, it is, to be fair, by the way things are going, I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea had a new manager in by then. But it is. Come on, man. It is bad. Very much so shocking. Hamza Chow's playing well tonight. Big up to Watford. They're playing West Brom, aren't they? It's Hamza versus Brighton. Josh, mate, don't jinx it. It's fine, boys. Trust me. I don't like Ward-Prowse. Don't know why, but he ain't gonna score. Allow it. But we've got Madison, mate. It's happening. Allow it. Hope we're getting Tete for free this summer. Maybe. If Ward-Prowse gets a free kick, I run down, stick the badge out. He ain't scoring. No chance. Jan Bender at bullet headers. Yeah, no, it'd be classic, wouldn't it? Vestergaard comes off the bench and bags. Bertrand's back in training, in there. Jesus, I wouldn't be surprised if he got in the squad for that. I think Brendan likes him, doesn't he? But just as we're saying though, 2 massive games coming up. Arsenal, Southampton. I would be expecting at least 3 points from them to really. But yeah, we do need to be careful. Obviously, we lost to Southampton earlier on this season in a dreadful win. Jadon, as Joe just said, scored in that one. So that game was not fun at all. And Madison scored a free kick in that one. So there's levels, Ward-Prowse, mate. There's levels. I know he's got like the most goals in the Prem from free kicks, but Smart, by the way, always lets players run past him. I did see a clip of that on Twitter. It was, I know, he just kind of. I think it was Bruno or Sancho. Just let him completely run. There's no communication at all. I think he needs to work on that, and I think that's really a case of adapting. But surely there's. I don't know. I was going to say, I don't really think we can blame that on adapting from the French league to the Prem because obviously you're going to have runners in the French league. It's not like a complete slow farmers league. Always a farmers league, but yeah, he always does, doesn't he? Isn't the best. Madison's clearly 2-2. Oh yeah, I remember that. We usually do. Southampton's way is a weird one. We either win 9-0 or we lose, and obviously it was 2-2 last year. Season before it was 1-1, so we always weird results at St Mary's. But yeah, hopefully we can go there and get the win. Half 5 kickoffs is usually a good away day as well, so it should be bouncing down there. But yeah, 2 weeks away to that one, so another away day just around the corner. Obviously it's less than 2 weeks. Obviously I'm filming this on Monday night, but yeah, there we go, boys and girls. I am going to wrap up the show tonight. Hopefully you have all enjoyed it. If you enjoyed the rant about VAR and the game itself, but yeah, overall it's one of them games, and we'll see how we bounce back for Arsenal. But going into these run of 4 fixtures, Villa, Spurs, Man United, Arsenal. If you said 6 points before, I probably would have taken it really. So yeah, one of them are really, boys and girls. But yeah, let's get back into the chat. Just before you head out, boys and girls, just go and quickly drop a like if there's massive help out. But yeah, let's get into the chat. Mendy should have got another chance against Arsenal. Maybe. It's going to be interesting that Arsenal set up. I reckon Dewsbury Hall is potentially at a slight risk of getting dropped, really, but we'll have to see. Going to go 1-0 down, 1-1, 2-1 down, 2-2. Ooh, I don't know. I don't know. Mendy didn't look great yesterday. Yeah, I don't know. I do think, especially at home. I don't know. It's very risky though. Risky going like Tillemans, Dewsbury, and Madison. But I do want to see Leicester bring the game to Arsenal. But we have to be on it. Samaro, doesn't Diddy come in as well? We have got lots of options. So we'll have to see. Come on, Leicester up there. Big up to Watford. There we go. There we go. Cheers, Jerry, mate. Cheers, Ryan. Cheers, boys. Haven't even sold up yet, which is embarrassing. Yeah, I think we will. Yeah, boys and girls, thank you for coming in. As always, massively appreciated. Just like to say, go and drop a like, subscribe to the channel, watch us back on playback, let us know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you boys on probably Friday night for the Arsenal preview, if there's not any big news throughout the week. So yeah, stay safe, enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you boys on Friday night for the build up to Arsenal. I'll see you boys then in a bit.